box room. It's so exciting.
And for those people that haven't been here, I think another pretty exciting element is this outdoor space. Kind of like a nice spot that we'll be able to do some events and have some small scale gatherings. Yep, there's even some hops growing out here, which I brought some more hops to plant.
Very happy cherry tree, and hops that are right next to it. And we've had permission from AJ to do some proper trellising of the hops this year. So actually later this afternoon, I think I'll bring my little pruning shears and we can prune them down a little bit. But that'll be a fun wet hop thing in the fall.
I brought some more rhizomes to plant as well.
Nice.
More hops.
What variety?
Cascade. They're about 2 years old, so they're pretty hardy.
Yeah.
All right. So unpin the video now. Here we go. And then so space stuff is getting concrete and real fast. There's still a decent amount of work to do. Just both getting kind of systems set up, figuring out exactly what kind of regulatory reporting stuff we'll need to do. Fortunately, kind of at least at the federal level, the kind of amount of frequency filings and other things that you need to do is lessened as you get smaller, and it looks like we'll be small enough, at least for year one, that we'll only have to do annual filings for taxes and other things like that rather than quarterly or monthly. So that's nice. But yeah, there's still a good amount of stuff to figure out, but we're making good progress. On the just other build out stuff that still needs to be done. We're getting a 220 volt kind of run from the box to sort of where the brew kettle will be. So that we're waiting on kind of some of the zoning stuff to do, as well as the HVAC. And sort of the biggest question on HVAC is whether we got kind of a proposal from a kind of industrial scale company that even though it's not huge in the grand scheme of things, still felt kind of like a lot for us, like $3,500 for the sort of vent hood installation. So we're figuring out exactly what we'll need to do, what the city wants us to do, if we need to go to that extent, or if we can just kind of go to Home Depot, get a hood. Because essentially, as Wendy put it, it's basically an oversized coffee pot that will be running down there. It's not like switchback scale equipment. So whether we can DIY that for like $500 or need to sort of go with a more professional thing for like $3,500 is kind of something we're trying to get to the bottom of. So other things on build out in getting going, right? So we're in the process of finalizing the team. As we kind of figured out from a legal perspective, it made sense to start with 4. And then we're going to be kind of modeling out what does it look like to then have additional kind of on-call support, especially for events. So for people who can kind of work events and be sort of employed by the kind of employees rather than the sort of co-owner structure that we have for the kind of core 4 partners. So Wendy and Casey have been sort of, agreed to sort of be the first 2. We had some folks submit, and in terms of the sort of time available and other things like that. So we're bringing kind of Evan Kolk and Melissa Kane on to kind of Melissa on sort of the event planning side of things. Evan more sort of on mixture of kind of the bar experience, having worked on Bourbon Street in New Orleans and some brewing experience as well. So hopefully we have a good mix of skills there. And then we'll be kind of reaching out to folks around that sort of on-call type role going forward, as soon as we sort of get a sense of what our event flow is going to look like. So hopefully, if everything's going well, we'll be kind of moving into the ability to actually sell beer by early to midsummer. I think kind of the biggest question right now is just around city stuff. So we're going to be trying to figure out exactly what that looks like, and hopefully in the next week or 2 we'll have a better sense of if there are tweaks we need to do. If the stairs kind of for a change of use are kind of older and out of code, so there's stuff we need to do about that. Having customers in the space, we're doing pop-up events. So there's a bunch of strategic questions we're going to need to deal with around that. But fingers crossed, selling beer by summer. On the event side of things, so big thing is kind of going forward. We've been continuing the kind of Full Barrel Friday stuff over the winter. Now that in-person events are more available and the weather's getting nicer, we made the decision to sort of switch to doing in-person events. So we'll be doing, an informal get together on the 14th, next Friday at the space. Again, opportunity to give people chance to come check it out. And, I don't know if Jess or Casey, if either of you want to share a little bit more about kind of what Memes has been thinking on events. And also, on the fundraising side, the groundwork that's being laid for the crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah, sure. I can share a little update there. We've done, as the Memes committee, kind of a bunch of brainstorming ideas around possible event partners, ways we can work with local nonprofits and make events sort of beneficial to both us, as in having a space to host the event and maybe doing some fundraising for some nonprofit partners. We've talked about using this space behind the brewery on a regular basis for events with some of the other tenants of the building here. And just really kind of trying to put together as many ideas as we can around possible events so that when the time comes, we have a big sort of database to pull from. And then as far as the fundraising campaign, we've put together kind of a bunch of different packages or levels, just like your standard Kickstarter campaign, where if you contribute this much money, you get a sticker. If you contribute this much money, maybe you get a t-shirt. And one of the cool things about it is the possibility of doing like these member founder growlers that you'd be able to fill at a discounted rate at the brewery for some set period of time. And it would be a cool printed growler that says founding member or something like that on it. And now that we're sort of really progressing with the licensing, I think we'll be pushing that campaign live pretty soon. Anything else, Jess?
Well said, Casey. I think that covers most of it. As you mentioned, we're just kind of like looking at different types of ways that we can position ourselves with events. And I think you covered that really nicely, and really stoked for the pre-sale fundraiser to kind of get momentum going and some stuff out there before we open.
Great. And one aside is I did recently have a conversation with Mike around laser cutting glass rounded things. So maybe we should have a follow-up conversation about that later as we think about the growlers. All right, so then the other thing I'll cover before passing it off to David to give a quick treasurer's report is just kind of some of the more long-term positioning of where things are going or potentially going. So the bus barn space that we had many board meetings in and have been kind of considering has officially been purchased by the real estate co-op that was formed at the beginning of last year. So now that owns it. It's renting it and renewing the lease with Good News Garage through September 2022. So if we decide that that's the direction we want to kind of be continuing to move forward towards, that would be the earliest that we would be able to kind of move in. There are no agreements, formal agreements or anything like there on either side. So no hard commitments if we decide, we need longer to stay in the incubator space, or if we want to grow in a different way, or we have the flexibility, and likewise the real estate co-op has the flexibility to decide to renew the lease with Good News Garage if it makes sense. So kind of my thinking generally in terms of this is more or less the idea of having a kind of strategic check-in at the end of this year, once we've hopefully been operating for about 6 months, and seeing sort of how that's going, where do we feel like we can expand capacity at the existing scale? Do we feel like, something in 6 or 8 months, is realistic for expanding, or do we need more runway? And I think we kind of have the flexibility right now to make decisions as makes sense at that point. So that's kind of really where things stand. The thing is locked down. There's really probably going to be no other tenant that has a claim beyond just the current tenant should they want to renew their lease again. But that's a sort of option in our strategic plan, right? So any questions for me or for kind of other board members before I pass it off to David?
Who is the current person who's like the go-to for member records and member engagement?
So for member records, I think, or it would be me, and then for member engagement, I would say it would be probably Jess.
Okay, thanks.
You mentioned that we're hoping by this summer, if everything goes well, to be able to sell some beer. Do we have a plan for what the first batch? Are we going with cash in a jar? Or?
Yes,
To Wendy.
yeah. Well, that'll be one of them. We'll be kicking them out right and left when we get started.
Cool.
So yeah, cash and jar will be one.
Do we have anyone lined up for can design or can art? Is that going to be you, Casey?
Well, at this time, we won't be canning. So no, but when we get there, it will be me.
Okay, cool.
As a quick question about the bus barn space and it being purchased by the real estate co-op, are there, is that like a profit that's going towards FBC, or is that separate, but it's just an ability for us to get in the space? And I'm sorry, I feel like I should understand this, but I'm just.
Yeah, so basically, a little quick backstory would be, when we were looking at that potential space, we kind of raised a few different options for how, okay, if Full Barrel was going to want to try to buy it directly, or if we want some sort of separate entity to try to buy it. Separate entities considered we're forming like a special purpose LLC, or kind of using this as a first project for kind of a separate real estate co-op. After weighing the options, made the decision to go the real estate co-op direction, which Full Barrel does own one share of the real estate co-op. So, basically, like if there's a dividend, Full Barrel will get, that 4 or 5% or 5% dividend from the real estate co-op, any profit that it generates. And then if we become a tenant, we would be a member, and so if it makes any profit, we would get a refund on our rent as well, as sort of like a city market patronage refund. So we are a voting member of the real estate co-op, one of 40 some.
Thank you, Matt.
Is Eric still the rep on behalf
Yep.
of Full Barrel? Okay.
Yep. So so Eric gets the gets any of the sort of notifications for votes or other things like that, and if there's anything that requires more attention, it kind of can come to the full board. All right. So David, do you want to give us a quick treasurer's report?
Sure, I can let you know two things: our current balances and also our incomes and expenses over the last 12 months. I looked at May 1st, 2020 to May 1st, 2021. We acquired 15 new members, each paid $100 a piece, or $1,500 in income from that. Sales of shirts and caps were $90. So we had taken in $1,590 in the last 12 months. Normal expenses were $650, which gave us a net equity gain of $940 in the amount of money that we had. And then the new expenses on the space were $1,570. So that gave us sort of a net equity loss of $629. I say equity loss, I'm not sure if that's the term, but that's how our balance was reduced in the last 12 months. Total income minus total expenses. And currently cash on hand in PayPal, the two bank accounts and actual cash is $4,177.63. And we are spending $350 a month for the space. and other expenses as they come up. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you, David. And then some
Um,
of the other expenses, that have either been expended or in the pipeline is we have purchased the brew kettle, and as was shown, some of the fermenters. There will be kind of insurance, kind of getting the insurance in line and active before we start doing any of the production work, which will be about, I think we're quoted about $1,800 for the year, including for events and other things. And then, some other miscellaneous build out stuff will be coming as well. So, Andrew?
Yeah, I was just wondering if we have any projection of, with our current balance and like projected new members, or whatever our projected income is, with like now having monthly rent, insurance, expenses to build out, if we kind of have an idea of like we need to be selling this much beer by this time, or anything like that.
Well,
Yep.
it'll be tight, but if we can start getting some revenue by mid to late summer, that would help offset the drain.
Yeah, and then we also do have kind of a modeling spreadsheet where we have a few different, like, okay, if we brew a batch and we sell it at an event, here's sort of the cost we see and versus how much profit that would generate. Similarly, for if we sell it kind of through growlers at a certain price, that sort of thing. So really, I think, when we kind of ran those numbers, it was, felt comfortable in terms of generating some net surplus. If, kind of close to the line, if we were able to push 2 batches out per month, depending on the venue, with in-person events being by far the most profitable way of doing it. And then, 3 kind of being the comfortable thing. And if we can do more than that, so much the better. And a batch being a half barrel, 15-gallon batch of beer.
And selling as growlers.
Well, so different things, obviously, like aiming to do at least 1 in-person event per month, potentially 2. I think we've been talking about the idea of 1 kind of beer garden on site and then 1 pop-up event somewhere else. And then, and then 1 thing kind of selling as growlers out of the space. That would kind of, that would make the numbers work from what we've been projecting.
Cool.
And retail would be quasi limited to like when people are brewing, as to like reduce hours and like really focusing on like the event focus. Is that right, Matt? In
Mhm.
terms of like filling growlers and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then also with the launch of a fundraising campaign, we hope to inject some additional capital as well. And that will hopefully be paired with kind of like a member drive perhaps as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions on the financial front?
This isn't necessarily financial, but I do have some merch in my garage. Does it make sense at this point to bring that over to the new space, or should I just hang on to that for now?
Yeah, I think it makes sense to start bringing some of the miscellaneous item, especially kind of event related items over to the space. We should be getting, the other thing from build out is we're going to be having kind of a scissor gate to be able to secure the space when we're not in it. And that's been ordered. So I think there's not a huge number of people who kind of go through the building anyway, generally. So I would feel pretty comfortable with, a box of merch being down there for the moment, but and soon we'll be able to kind of lock it and have access control more clearly.
Did we make any money from the Switchback event at all, or not really?
A small amount. It was basically, we had some marketing fee where it was like $20 per event, essentially, for amount of beer sold. So it's been, the Switchback events have been kind of on hold for kind of as the COVID thing clamped down, and now they're kind of moving into their busy season. So it probably actually does make sense for me to reach out and kind of try to close the loop on that. We do have sort of an offer from them that if we want to do kind of an event to raise awareness for our opening, that they are happy to kind of host something there. So kind of figuring out what exactly we want to do around that, and then sort of close that loop would probably be good to figure out in the next month or 2. Other questions? All right. So Yeah, next item on the agenda is just a little introduction and conversation with the ops team members who are able to make it today. So just kind of maybe even just an opportunity to introduce yourself with, say a little bit about your kind of experience and vision for your involvement in the project, and then we'll kind of go on from there to the board election candidate statements before moving to open member time. So yeah, Wendy, do you want to maybe just go first?
I didn't know I had to give a presentation.
Not a presentation, just sort of an intro. And most of us know you, but
Yeah, for those who don't know me, yeah, I've been brewing for a few years, about 13, 14 years. So I have a nice little brewery set up behind me. I don't know if you can really see it or not. I have 8 taps, so I'm keeping busy doing that. In fact, I have about 4 beers that I need to kick out real quick because my growlers are running kind of, my kegs are running kind of low. Outside of that, it's coming right along. I'm enjoying it. I think the brewery is really looking good and great possibilities, and looking forward to the future. It'll be nice. I know the kettle is on order. They haven't received, More Beer has not received it into their inventory yet. And as soon as they do, it'll be on the way. So that's one of the larger hurdles. Outside of that, we need to get the city to get off their dead duff and get going. That's all I have. Looking forward to keep on serving.
thank you, Wendy. Casey, anything you want to share?
Yeah, sure. I have met almost all of you. There's a few guys I haven't met in person yet. So as far as my involvement, I hope to sort of head up the marketing and design side of things, as well as get involved with the brewing. I've been home brewing for a while and looking to learn a lot more about it. And I've really enjoyed sort of learning about the permitting licensing process with the government and the state, and am interested to see all the sort of record keeping and behind the scenes stuff as well. And kind of echoing what Wendy said about the space and how we have made a lot of progress on the build out, and it's exciting times.
Great. And Evan, would you like to introduce and give a little bit of background and thoughts on your involvement?
Sure. So I've only met a few people in the club, or in the co-op rather. I moved up here from New Orleans over the summer, and through various back channels got connected to Casey and met some people. And I've been homebrewing for almost 5 years now. I was in one of the executive members of the Crescent City Homebrewers, is a big club down in New Orleans. And so, the idea of getting involved in a brewing co-op sounded really, really, really cool. And so I'm looking forward to sort of helping Wendy out on the brew side. As Matt said earlier, I, grad school spent some time working in bars on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. So I have more than a little bit of bar experience. So I'm hoping to help, serving and whatever for all the events, kind of just pitching wherever people need me.
That bar service is what? Bending your elbow, sitting at the bar, or on the other side?
Both.
Great, thank you, Evan. So any questions or thoughts for this gallant crew before we move on to board elections? All right.
How many of y'all are going to be at the 2 to 3 event today?
3 to 4.
3 to 4 event today.
4 to 5.
4 to 5 event today. Where am I in time and space? Hashtag COVID.
5 to 6.
Right now is 2 to 3. Okay. Who's going to be at the 4 to 5 event today?
I will be there.
Great.
Unfortunately, I got my second dose yesterday, so I will not be there. I'm feeling really spacey.
Yeah, I was okay. I was just saying, like, Mike and I are going, so I wanted to see. I guess we'll find out who we'll meet. But I'm excited.
I won't be there. I won't be here.
That's so funny.
I thought it was just at following the meeting. I know people have to like travel here, but won't be sitting around until 4 o'clock.
All right. So moving on to elections, we've got 3 seats up, and two incumbents are in them, and 1 is an open seat. So so we have Jess, Peter, and Ted have declared their candidacies. So this is a time to see if anyone else wants to throw their hat in the ring and make it a competitive election, as right now it's 3 for 3 seats, and B, just an opportunity for each to give a little statement, and this video will be shared, it's being recorded and will be shared along with the ballot when that goes out on Lumio. So just opening the floor for nominations. Anyone else want to throw their hat in the ring?
Matt, who stepped down? Sorry, I haven't been following.
So that was the seat that's open was Miles Lindsmith.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yep. Yeah, he moved out to Colorado, I believe, or Wyoming. Was it Wyoming? Jackson Hole, I thought. Yeah, it was Wyoming. Somewhere in the mountainous west. All right. So hearing.
I have to say that Jess and Peter, you've done amazing work, and Ted, I wanted you to run like 3 years ago, so I'm so excited you're finally doing it. Since I was ready for Matt to be like, hearing no one else, I just wanted to like pitch that it's a good crew.
Agreed. All right, so maybe Ted, do you wanna start us off for just quick candidate statement? Why you're running?
Sure. I mean, Kirsten already stole my thunder there, right? So hi, I'm Ted. I have a shared background with a lot of you. I've been homebrewing for about 15 years now. I come from an IT background. I moved here from the West Coast about 5 years ago, where I was on the board of a very large homebrewing club for a few years. Most of my focus there was originally on competitions and competitive homebrewing, designing, marketing, and running competitions. And joined the co-op, I think it was 2 years ago, and Kirsten ran up and was like, you have to join the board. I'm like, I don't even know what you guys are about yet. Why would I want to join a board? Give me a year to like figure things out. So I've been really excited to watch the progress specifically over the last year. It's really been so exciting on getting the space and seeing it virtually. And I'm hoping to go down there this afternoon and check it out in person. And so I've really been looking for, also my work-life balance has shifted such that I have more opportunity to contribute. So the stars have aligned where I think I can really help out, and I'm happy to help serve on the board if you'll have me.
Thank you, Ted. Jess, would you like to go next?
Hello, all. I'm Jess. I think I've met most of you in person. Fairly new to the organization, got involved last spring, and have been actively involved on a co-chair of the means committee with Casey, as well as secretary for the board, and have really enjoyed working with all of you and the organization over the last year. The way that this build out has been coming and us making moves towards this space has been really exciting, excuse me. And I'm just really looking to continue my work with everyone.
Thank you, Jess. And Peter.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I'm Peter, member number 2, I believe. So I want to say that this has just been, it's been so great to watch this project really move from that first meeting upstairs in the old Lab B space, kind of up in the soda plant there, to where we are now, and really how things have picked up over the last, I'd say, 2 years, as we've sort of been able to move really quickly towards getting the space open. I am more than happy to throw my hat in the ring for this last tour. I think after this term limits kick in, but would love to continue to support this organization, especially as we've got this ops committee, and move them forward in whatever ways are needed. So yeah.
Great. So opening up to any questions for the candidates before we and then I will post later on this today. I'll post the ballot along with this video for anyone who's not been able to attend the meeting to review before voting. All right. Well, thank you all for being game to support the organization with the vital work of the board. That's this is really great to both kind of keep potentially Peter and Jess's experience and to bring kind of Ted's new perspective to the table. So so then the final item on our agenda, as always, is just open member time. So if you have a question, if you have a thought, if you have an idea, this is the time to share it, and then we will close out and meet. Some of us will be meeting up at the space at 4. So.
I like that screenshot from Casey there. That's interesting. Well, there
Is
we
it
go.
here?
Name that body part, huh?
His ear.
Casey, you can't stick around for a little while?
I don't know. Maybe I'll
Okay.
have to check with the wife and the children.
Mike and I can pop over early and enjoy a beer with you, Casey. We're like,
Yeah, I'm here. I have some beers.
yeah, we'll come
I
over.
haven't interacted with other humans in a long time.
Yeah, we haven't either. We'll head right over.
That's good.
And don't let him leave, Kirsten.
That greenhouse you're in, is that something that can be part of our events?
Hard to keep them there.
I don't know, but it's pretty sweet.
Actually, AJ the landlord AJ specifically was like, "Hey, this could be a good thing for the beer garden. You just have a little booth or something that's in the greenhouse."
Perfect. Yeah, if we can't have people
Nice.
downstairs, we'll just this will be our bar.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see, especially like going into like fall too, or like we can get some sort of like little like heat lamp in there or something.
I don't even think
We'll
you'd
see
need it.
how long it stays there, but
Well, it's solar energy. They can heat it with solar.
Yeah.
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 I'll
So it's
bring, a
permanent.
growler, I'll bring a growler of juicy IPA.
nice.
So that greenhouse is permanent in the alley or semi-permanent? We don't move it to the grass, right?
Semi-permanent in the alley.
Yeah, it's no better use of the alley than that, I guess.
I
Except
think
for
it's
parking.
like a demo for COVID little pod. So maybe as the COVID era wraps up, it will move on its way or be
Yeah.
repurposed or something.
I feel like for winter outdoor hangs though, like that's such a cool setup for that as well. With still being able to have like semi-outdoor.
Yeah, so I think the one thing I will want to do with folks who are down there is just kind of do a little bit of thinking about and envisioning the sort of how we want to set up the beer garden when we do events, and in addition to sort of expanding the hop production, because I know the hops that are there were planted by Sean Mellon back when it was the Vermont Community Garden Network was there. So
Yeah.
I think we could ask him, and maybe we would find out what kind of hops they are. They might just be mystery hops. I feel like half the hops you encounter in the wild are mystery hops, but I think that could add a nice element to the whole thing. All right. So I think with that, unless anyone else wants to wave wildly at me with a comment, we can move towards adjourning the meeting. But thank you all for taking time this afternoon, and looking forward to hanging out with some of you in a little bit. Yeah. And maybe kind of just a quick round of any final checkout thoughts, as we tend to do, starting with David.
Well, these are exciting times, and we're just around the corner from actually doing another notch towards more legitimacy. And I think when that happens, we're going to maybe get some members coming in from all over the place. So let's look forward to that.
Great. Casey?
Yeah, just exciting times, keeping it going forwards.
Ted?
Looking forward to seeing some of you this afternoon.
Great.
I'll bring some beer.
Jess?
Just want to say like everyone else, it's really exciting. Big shout out to Casey and Wendy and Matt and Peter. Everyone's just been putting so much work into this, and David. So just want to thank everyone. Really, like, that sweat equity is looking really good, guys. Looking really good.
All right, Peter?
Yeah, I really want to echo Jess there. Thank you, Matt, for putting this together, and I want to, definitely thank Wendy and Casey for getting in there and putting that space together. Saw the picture of it the other day, and my mind was kind of blown a little bit. The previous iteration I had seen was much more post-apocalyptic, so things are looking really good, and just really excited to continue to move forward here.
Great, thank you, Peter. Andrew?
Yeah, just super appreciative of like all the work that so many different people have put in over a lot of years, honestly. And super appreciative to the people that are carrying it right now. And just Ted and Peter, y'all jumping on the board there and putting that work in, and just really excited to see things moving forward.
All right, and then flipping the order here, Mike?
Yeah, I'm pumped to visit the space in a few minutes. Murphy was just audibly snoring with his eyes open, so it kind of distracted us a little bit. But no, we're really excited for where everything's headed and looking forward to enjoying beers with people.
And Kirsten?
Yeah, thanks for all of your work, everyone. It's really exciting to watch the evolution. Appreciate our board.
Wendy?
Yeah, looking at the space that we started out with versus what it is now, what a difference. Little sweat equity goes a long ways, and as soon as we get up a gate and a brew pot in there, then I'll really be excited and ready to go.
I was going to say, Wendy, like, I think last time I saw that space over a Zoom call, Matt, you were giving us a tour right after we secured the space, and I don't recognize it.
Oh, it was butt ugly.
It was bad. I was like, really? So to see it today was just like really exciting.
Did y'all get some before pictures to do like a before and after? Nice.
Yeah, we have pictures all the way through the phases.
Cool.
I've started photoshopping up the mural for the wall too.
Oh, great.
Who's doing
Really
it?
just a big logo, but I think it'll look pretty cool.
Is that something you're going to be doing, Casey?
Yeah.
Cool.
Is the alley wall around the door?
No,
Inside?
inside. The wall that'll have the fermenters on it.
Sweet.
It'll look cool behind there.
All right, so just finishing up the round here. Brooke, any final thoughts?
I am grateful to all the people who've put so much hard work into this, and definitely looking forward to the summer and moving forward, helping out however I can.
Great. And Evan?
I'm just stoked for the point where we get to start brewing. Like, I want to get in there and make some beer.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I'll stop the recording now.